You're watching Stewart Spotlight Podcast live with your host, William Stewart Jr. Topics of everyday life. Tune in every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Today's guest, Brian R. Jones. Our topic today, OSA, Obstructive Sleep Apnea. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode. Now your host, William Stewart Jr. Yes, good evening, and welcome to Stewart Spotlight Podcast Live. My name is William Stewart Jr., and I am your host this evening. So I'm so happy that you guys had the opportunity to tune in and watch another exciting episode. I want to thank you. But today is Friday, March the 28th. Where did this month go? We are in our first quarter already, and the month is flying. But you know, this is not the last day of the month, but we still have to celebrate Women's History Month. We have a couple more days before Women's History Month has end, which will be Monday, the 31st. So I'm not going to prolong the show because there's so much in the news that we can talk about, but I refuse to talk about it. Sometimes it's depressing, but I just want to go into my guest because my guest has a lot to say. But before we go into the guest, I need you to do this. I need your support. I need you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and make sure you turn on your notifications. So therefore, every time you hear this, you know that Stewart Spotlight Podcast is live. That's right. Make sure you subscribe and share because we need your support. And also, leave a comment. We want your feedback so we can improve this podcast every week. So before we go into a little small commercial break, my guest today is Brian R. Jones, who has been diagnosed with OSA. And I'm getting a lot of feedback right here. I'll put this over here. Who has been diagnosed with OSA. He's going to be able to share more information about it. So after this break, we'll be right back to talk with Brian R. Jones. Stay tuned. That's right. Order your t-shirts today. T-shirts, hoodie, coffee mug. We have them on sale. Go to our website. Welcome back to Stewart Spotlight Podcast. My name is William Stewart. My guest, Brian R. Jones. He has a story to tell. And I want to, without further ado, let's welcome Brian Jones. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Mr. Stewart, how you doing, sir?
I am doing just fine. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule to appear on the show. But
Anything for my good friend. We're both Chicago natives, so
that's right. I appreciate that very much. I've been knowing Brian for years.
I like
Yeah.
100. I think 100, maybe 200.
Okay, don't overdo it. Back in the days, they used to think that we were brothers before you got your beard
Yes.
and everything, because we look so much
Yeah, because we
alike.
got the same big
Big
eyes.
eyes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we used to hang out and just bond together. He's a good
Yes.
friend. He's a good friend of mine.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
so Brian, so how you doing today?
Everything is going great. It's been a great Friday. The sun was shining bright. I got some sunlight. I was able to get up this morning and go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I had breakfast and lunch today, and the day is going excellent. Thanks
Perfect.
for asking.
Perfect. No problem. So, Brian, give us a little history about yourself, your family, your education, your hobbies, so people will know who is Brian R. Jones.
Alrighty. I was born, bred, and raised on the south side of Chicago,
Yep.
115th and Halsted area. Um, Everything about me, my foundation came from Chicago. Back in the day, I was a good old church boy, but currently I moved to Atlanta around about 15, 20 years or so ago. So Atlanta is my second home. That's the first time I ever admitted that out loud. So yes, I claim the A. Yes. Since I've been here, I got situated. It was a heavy adjustment. I remember my first Christmas in Atlanta. First Christmas, it was green grass and 60-degree weather. Coming from Chicago, we got four seasons every year. So I've never seen a green Christmas. So, yes. But I've
Okay.
been in the South. I'm getting a little country a little bit. But, hey, I'm still born, bred, and raised. I'm still Chicago to my core.
Sounds good to me. What about your education?
Actually, I first started with Columbia College in Chicago. I studied film production.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a screenwriter, and I didn't finish, but I started there. Then eventually I moved to Atlanta to study music. I'm a song lyricist. So I came to Atlanta. They had an interesting music program. So at the time, I mentioned previously that I was in church. So my goal was to revamp the gospel music industry. So I'm a writer, so I write song lyrics, and I get with people that produce music producers, and they breathe life to my song lyrics.
Oh,
So that was my eventual goal, to move to Atlanta, get the education I need, and then to move back to Chicago. But then something happened, and I've been in Atlanta ever since. Never moved back to Chicago. Well, I moved back for 6 months to a year, and I came back to Atlanta. And
okay.
then eventually, I graduated with my master's from Keller Graduate School of Management, with an MBA, cum laude, studying with my focus was marketing and finance.
Oh, okay. Now, what about your family?
Family. My mom's birthday actually was March 26th. Rest in peace to my mom, Gloria L. Jones. I called her Glorine. My affectionate name for her was Glorine, and she passed away in September of 2010. My
Oh,
dad passed away in 2015. I have nieces, nephews, cousins, friends,
mm-hmm. And more.
and more.
And
Okay,
more, right? So,
if you insist.
so Brian, so you were diagnosed with OSA.
Obstructive sleep apnea. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Let's go back. What do you do for a living?
Well, actually, I work for a local hospital in the metro Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
I work in the HRIS department. That's information system. So our team is responsible for supporting the help desk. So the help desk, they do their initial diagnosis when people call, and the tickets that they can't resolve, our team resolve those tickets. So I'm a part of that team.
Okay. So now,
And
how
I've been working from home ever since COVID hit. So
really? Oh, that's a
yes.
good thing then. So now, how?
It's a little isolating at times, but yeah, it's the good and bad. You got to take it with life, the good and the bad. So
Okay. So now, how did this affect your work, or did it affect your work?
OSA.
Yes, OSA.
OSA, it's obstructive sleep apnea is a condition in which when you sleep, you stop breathing. And when you stop breathing, you don't get good sleep at night. So even though you might be asleep for 2 hours, 6 hours, whatever the case may be, you don't get good sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So it causes daytime tiredness.
Okay. Now, before we go into that, I want to show a little clip that I did some research with, And just to give the viewers some information about OSA. OSA.
When we breathe, air travels down the throat, through the windpipe and into the lungs. The narrowest part of that pathway is in the back of the throat. When we're awake, muscles keep that opening relatively wide. But when we sleep, those muscles relax. That narrows the opening. The air passing through may cause the throat to vibrate. That causes snoring. Obviously, many people experience this. But in some people, the throat closes so much that enough air doesn't get through to the lungs. When this happens, the brain gets a message to wake up. The brain quickly activates the muscles that hold the throat open. Air gets through again, and the brain goes back to sleep. This only takes a few seconds. You may not even know you've awakened, but this process may happen over and over, hundreds of times, all night long. You may never get into the deep, restful stage of sleep. As a result, you may feel exhausted when you wake up and feel sleepy all day.
Now, this just to give you a little history about OSA, and when I was doing some research about it, some of the symptoms: daytime drowsiness, hypertension, heart attacks, strokes, memory loss, diabetic, depression, early death, and insomnia. So, tell us about your experience in this OSA.
Yes, I have peaks and valleys when it comes to my OSA. Some seasons, I don't have the effects, and other seasons I do. Like in 2024, I was sleeping, I thought good sleep, because I wasn't using my CPAP machine, and a CPAP machine is a device that you use. It blows continuous air when you sleep, and the air there. So when you stop breathing at night, the CPAP is there to help you to breathe better. So in 2024, the doctor told me I used it, but I don't remember using it at all that much. So I thought I was getting good sleep in 2024. And after I had some episodes in 2025, well, actually the end of 24 and then 25, I started using my CPAP machine more often. And it still is not providing me the relief that I need.
So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So basically, this is the CPAP machine that you have. So now, how difficult is it to sleep with this CPAP machine?
It depends on the night, because sometimes I can wake up and the CPAP machine, the device that goes around your head and your nose, is on the side of the bed, and I don't remember taking it off.
Okay.
So it all depends on the night. Some nights, most nights, I can sleep with it all the way through. But keeping in mind that lately, I've only been getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, and that's still not, in my opinion, good sleep. The CPAP is not delivering the type of relief that I thought it should be providing me. But the doctor did say I had to give it time to kick in.
Okay. Now,
I've had the CPAP machine for years. Like I said, it's hit and miss with me. Some seasons I use it, other seasons I don't. But I've been more faithfully using based on. I had we're probably going to get more into it, but I had an issue behind the wheel of a car on January the 11th.
Yeah, we're going to go into that, but let's talk about this CPAP. So you're saying it helps, and it really doesn't help, either if you sleep with it or you don't.
Right, but I still have to sleep with it.
Okay.
I still have to sleep with it because it's blowing continuous air when I'm sleeping. So just say, for instance, if I don't sleep with it, I can stop breathing constantly throughout the night.
Right.
So it's probably better for me to use it than not to use it. Okay. But once again, it's not providing me the relief that I need. I was thinking that using the sleep apnea machine, I was going to get 8 hours of sleep, wake up energized and, ready to tackle the day. But lately, that has not been happening.
Oh, wow. So does any of your family members have this?
Well, actually, I think I'm the first one that was officially diagnosed. Growing up, my dad snored loudly, and we just thought it was just common. Back then, we didn't know that was sleep apnea was a thing. And actually, my mom and dad snored when I was growing up. My dad used to stop breathing when he was sleeping and cough, and it seemed like he was choking when he was sleeping and things like that. And it was just a common thing. And then as I grew older, and people would tell me that I snore loudly, and it seemed like you stop breathing and you're choking in your sleep. And so years ago, I went to the doctor and told the doctor my symptoms, and then he set up a sleep study. And back in the day, you went to a facility and you spent the night there, and they put all these wires on you, and then they monitor your sleep. And that's when I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea.
So now,
Nowadays, too, they have home sleep studies you can do, but back in the day, I went to a facility.
but now you mentioned that you was on it for at least 10 years?
Yes, I had been diagnosed at least 10 years or longer, yes.
Okay. Wow, this is okay.
And like I said earlier, some seasons I can get sleep. I think I'm getting good sleep, and I'm able to like I say, be energized throughout the day. And other seasons, I am not. Currently, I'm experiencing a season where it's hard for me just to stay woke throughout the day.
Okay. Let's talk about two incidents that happened to you, and I want you to go in that order. Now, the first incident, you were flying from Arizona to Atlanta, and a situation happened. Could you explain that?
Yes, I went to Arizona to my cousin's house for Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
On the way back, the flight attendant came up to me and said, "We think you had a seizure because your eyes were in the back of your head and your left hand was just flailing out of control." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Huh? What?" I didn't know what the heck she was talking about. I'm like, "Huh?" She said, "Yeah, we think you had a seizure." And I'm cheap, thanks to my grandfather, Elder Homer Trotter. So I had a connecting flight. So normally, it's easier to take a direct flight, but it costs more. So I had a connecting flight. So the flight attendant told me that in order for me to move forward with my connecting flight, the pilot wanted me to get checked out by the paramedics. So the paramedics was called, and they took me off the plane, and they did their routine checks. And then they was able to give me a thumbs up, and I was able to get back on the plane to proceed to Atlanta. When I got back to Atlanta, I did go to my primary care physician and told them what happened. And then they scheduled me with an MRI, and the MRI came back okay. They're like, "There's nothing wrong. You're good."
Okay.
So okay.
So now they also gave you a test, something wrapped around your head?
Oh, the photo that you used, that happened like months afterwards.
Okay.
So before that, the incident that happened, okay, the first incident was on the plane when I had a seizure.
Okay.
The second incident was I woke up one morning, because I normally don't sleep in the bed. I have a king size bed at home. I normally sleep on the couch. I've been sleeping on the couch for years. But that particular night, I slept in the bed and I woke up. There was blood on the pillow. And I'm like, then I went to the mirror and I looked at my tongue and I had a deep bite. I bit my tongue so deeply that it produced blood on the pillow. So normally you bite your tongue, it's no big deal, but it didn't heal after 4 days. So on Saturday, January the 11th, I went to an emergency dentist, and then he examined me and he said, "Whoa, that is a deep bite." He said, he gave me some mouthwash to use. He said, "If this mouthwash don't work, you may need constructive surgery." See, so, okay, I'm glad that he gave me the mouthwash. I'm like, okay, hopefully things start healing as far as my tongue. On the way home from the emergency dentist, I'm driving, okay. Then all of a sudden, I'm on the side of the road and a policeman is there talking to me. And I'm like, "What's going on?" Like, "Huh? What in the world's going on?" He said, "You don't know what happened?" I'm like, "No, what's going on?" Because it was just so odd because I don't remember anything that happened. He said, "Your car just spent out of control 5 times." And I was on the left side of the median. I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" Like, what? I didn't have a clue of what he was talking about. And it was so weird because he asked me, I was on the left side of the median. He asked me to drive on the right side of the median. They called the ambulance, and the ambulance transported me to a hospital. So at that point, I had at least 3 episodes of seizures. So at that point, the doctor in the emergency room told me, "You can't drive anymore.
So
Your
now,
driving privileges have been taken away
so
for at least 6 months, maybe longer."
so basically, you was driving and just blanked out, in regards of a seizure, or just blanked out totally.
Right. It was my doctor, my neurologist eventually diagnosed me with epilepsy, but that happened afterwards. But it was 3 episodes that happened first before that I just talked about.
Okay.
So yeah, the car accident, the plane situation, and when I bit my tongue.
Okay.
And we're thinking, I'm sorry, so go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, and we're thinking that the epilepsy or the seizures were triggered by the sleep apnea.
Okay.
Because there's a link between the two. Because if you're not breathing at night, it can affect your brain some way, somehow. So we're thinking that there's the link with the seizure has everything to do with the sleep apnea.
So now when you went to your doctor, so now it's time to do some kind of test with you to make sure this is not constantly happening, because you were, this picture right here, could you explain this one?
Yes, this is a machine that they have. I had to do an EEG test, and that test was from Monday through Saturday, in which this device was connected to me for 24 hours. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't take long trips. Well, I can go outside to get fresh air, but I couldn't take a long trip. I can do anything that generates sweat, nor could I take a shower. I could do bird baths, but nothing serious, nothing heavy. Just like I said, nothing that generates sweat, bird bath only, and go outside for 10 to 15 minutes to get some fresh air, because the wires that they had me connected to, it was feeding, I don't know if you showed that machine, but it was feeding the machine. I had to be in front of that machine there. I had to be in front of that machine because that was keeping track of the activity of my brain. So from Monday through Saturday, yes.
So you have to wear this for 6 days straight.
6 days straight, yes.
And I'm not going to go into the medical, but your doctors did get the results?
Actually, I saw my neurologist on not this Friday, but last Friday, and I was hoping to have the results, but the results weren't available, but we will see.
Okay.
At the current time, I don't have the results. I don't know, because he just, based on the 3 episodes that I had, he just said, yeah, you have epilepsy. But the test will provide more conclusive information.
Well, Brian, stay with us for a moment. We're going to take a small break, and we're going to come back to finish talking about this OSA. Just stay with us right quick.
Yes, sir.
And we're back with Stewart Spotlight Podcast with my guest, Brian R. Jones. Brian, you know, as I was doing some research, and I brought up some stats. And take a look at this. It says the statistics for 2025, it is believed more than 30 million people have sleep apnea. And however, only 6 million cases were actually diagnosed. That's in the United States. But globally, there's an estimate of 930 million people who has OSA. What you think about that?
That is mind-blowing, especially for those people, only 6 million people. That's only what, 1% or less than 1%? I don't know the math, so excuse me if I said it wrong. But yes, because it's a serious condition. Because in my case, if it's triggering seizures, and you read out a moment ago that it can cause diabetes, death, and all the other stuff. So that's wow, I didn't know it was that heavy.
And this research was done by the American Medical Association this year. And, you know, with this, you know, as I stated before, hypertension, heart attack, memory loss, depression, all of these things. So out of the list that I named, how many really affected you?
Memory loss, tiredness, definitely. I have great memory loss. Recently, I was at an event, and one of my associates' sister came up to me and was talking to me as if she knew me. I was like, and I was just playing along with her, but I didn't know who she was. And then they said, yo, that's such and such. I'm like, oh, that's really? And yeah, so my memory loss, I do have memory loss at this current time, but it's getting a little better because I challenge myself, because when I work, I deal with a lot of numbers at work. So I try to memorize the numbers instead of just, you know, if I see the number once, I try to memorize it just to challenge my memory. But yes, definitely I have memory loss. Some things that I've been talking to a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in years, and they're bringing up things in the past that happened. I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. But yeah, definitely memory loss. Definitely daytime tiredness. It's got so bad that I had to file for intermittent FMLA with my job, just because some days are worse than others, and I can barely stay woke.
Right.
And I'm just falling asleep at the laptop working and just like, what's going on? And I can't make it throughout the day. And plus, me being an epileptic, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that word, but me having epilepsy, the doctor put me on medication. And one of the side effects of the medication is tiredness. So I have OSA that's making me tired, plus the medication. So that's like, it's double stress on me. I mean, double, all this being piled on me. So it can be rough at times. So I did reach out to my HR department at work and said, I need help. So.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned earlier that your driving privilege was involved. So how's that really affecting you? Because I'm most surely been used to driving for years. So now, since you cannot drive for 6 months, how's that really affecting you?
Yes, at least 6 months, depending on the outcome of test of the EEG test. And I can have a seizure for at least 6 months in order to possibly be able to drive again. But yes, my car was eventually totaled. So I did total my car when I had the accident. And as of right now, I do work from home, but I do go to the office once every 2 to 3 weeks. And it can take up to 2 hours for me to get to work on public transportation. I live in Jonesboro, Georgia. Metro Atlanta, it's like 20 minutes away from Metro Atlanta in car, but on public transportation, definitely it can take up to 2 hours. So it's a pain at times just to get around.
So you're talking about 2 hours one way or 2 hours round trip?
One way.
That's 4 hours out your whole day when you have to go downtown to the job.
Yeah, it's past downtown. Yes, in Sandy Spring, Georgia. Yes.
Oh wow. So now how do you get around now?
Mainly, I mean, I have pride. So I have friends who are willing to take me places, but I only ask them to take me places if I absolutely need to go. But I have been using public transportation and Uber and Lyft. But once again, I'm cheap. I only use Uber or a Lyft if I absolutely have to. So I will take public transportation. And based on my diagnosis, I get a reduced MARTA fare. So in Atlanta, equivalent to CTA, MARTA is equivalent to CTA. So I do get a reduced MARTA fare.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go back a little bit. When they had this equipment hooked up to you,
EEG, yes.
The EEG, were they able to monitor it from the facility?
Yes, they were doing mostly recording though.
Okay.
But they did have a 24-hour number. If something happened, something went wrong, whatever the case may be, I was able to contact them. But for the most part, it's just they're recording your brain activity.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, you can go away for at least no more than 30 minutes. I've had to step away to do whatever. I can do that for 30 minutes, but I had to be in front of that camera at least 95% of the time. From Monday through Saturday, yes.
Wow. So could you share with the viewers any experience that you encountered other than the accident and the flight?
Yeah, I mean, actually, my whole life has been turned upside down since I can't drive. I'm so used to getting in the car, going where I have to go. Now it has not been necessarily an humbling experience. It's been an annoying experience because public transportation, you get out there and you just hope you didn't miss it because you want to get there at least to the bus stop at least 10 minutes or 15 minutes before the bus come, and then sometimes they come later than the scheduled time, and you're just hoping that, oh my God, I hope I didn't miss this bus. And like I said, I got people willing to take me around, but at the same token, I don't want to bug people. People got their own lives. They got their own things that they're doing. So I'm used to being independent. They're used to seeing me independent. So to be able to bug people like I did when I lived in Chicago with mommy and daddy, it's just a whole different experience now. Yeah, when mommy and daddy was around, it was no problem. I need to go here, mommy and daddy. I need to go there, mommy and daddy. But now I'm a full-grown man. So it's just, the pride gets in the way. You don't want to bug people. We need to go to the grocery store. You need to go here. You need to go there. But I do have friends that are willing to do it. But some people that I thought were friends turned out not to be friends. So it's just this experience, it turned my life upside down.
Better do it every time.
Yes.
For the viewers, I reached out to Brian back in December. I reached out to you.
Yes. Mr. Stewart, I greatly appreciate you reaching out to me because in November of 23, I had right rotator cuff surgery. Before my rotator cuff surgery, I lived an active life. I was just doing, having fun, living an active life. But after the surgery in 2024, I mostly chilled out. I was on the bench of life, chilling out, not necessarily getting out. And I lost 30 pounds unexpectedly. I didn't try to lose 30 pounds. But once again, no activity, chilling at home, sleeping 8 hours and 9 hours a night. So I thought, and I told my doctor when I told him this, not to laugh at me, I thought I was healed of sleep apnea because I wasn't using the CPAP machine for the most part and getting a long amounts of sleep. And so you called me, I believe, in December of 2024,
Right.
and you presented me with a business opportunity,
Right.
and everything changed in my life at that point. Because once again, I was chilling on the bench of life. And then after that call, I got up based on the conversation we had, and I started working out again, eating right, and going out and being active. But then the accident happened. So I was being active, driving, going to where I need to go. Then the accident happened. And then once again, that turned my life upside down. But still, I didn't let that stop me. I'm still active. I don't let that stop me. And I do go out, and some days I take Uber. Some days friends would pick me up and we go out and just explore the town, just things of that nature. But yes, it's been rough. It's been a rough period, but I can handle it. It's not rough. It's not overwhelming, but it's really annoying at this point. It's rough and annoying.
So how is your family accepting this, or are they giving you support?
But I mean, my family for the most part are in Chicago. So, and I don't really want to burden them with this because I actually talked to my sister-in-law today, and this was the first time that she heard that I had the car accident. And she was like, "Oh my God, why you didn't tell me?" I'm like, I mean, they weigh 1,000 miles away. It's nothing they can do. And I'm a big boy and I can handle this load myself. But it's really, everybody got their own life. So I don't need a babysitter, but I appreciate people's concern, but I have to just carry this cross on my own.
I truly understand that. Well, Brian R. Jones, I really appreciate you coming on. And is there any final
Thanks
words?
for having me, sir.
Any final words you would like to share or?
Yes, my good friends out there, if you or a loved one snores loudly and you stop breathing when you're sleeping, if you notice that from your children or anybody that you are come in contact with while they're sleeping, please schedule an appointment with their primary care physician, and then he can give you all the information you need about obstructive sleep apnea or just sleep apnea in general. And nowadays, you can do a home test. Back in the day, as I mentioned previously, you went to a facility. Now you can do it in the comfort of your own home. It's a very serious condition, especially if you have daytime tiredness. That's one of the key signs. If you're sleeping all night or you think you're sleeping all night and you still wake up tired, that's a key sign that you need to go have a conversation with your physician. And take care, everyone. I bid everyone the best. God be with you. Once again, Will Stewart, thanks for your time, sir.
Brian Jones, thank you for coming on, and I really appreciate it. Feel free to come back anytime, and keep us posted on your situation. We would love to have you to come back and to share more about it. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Will, you asked me a question?
Yeah, I was just saying, make sure you keep us informed, so therefore you can come back and share more about your situation.
Yes. I should have the test result, the EEG test result, that should provide more conclusive information about my epilepsy. Hope to God I don't have it, but as of right now, my doctor is treating me as if I had it, and I'm taking medication. And I don't want to be addicted to medication, but I have to follow my doctor's order.
Right.
He's kind of spanked me on the hand Friday when I went because I was only taking it once a day because I was just going through physically so heavily that I wasn't taking it. They want you to take it once in the morning and once at night. And he said, in order for it to be effective, you got to take it both in the morning and the night. So I had to start doing it after he spanked me on the hand. So, but now I'm following his orders and just pray that I get through the days. But thank God I have a supportive company that I work for, and they're working with me.
Perfect. Keep me. I'll stay in touch with you, BJ.
Please do, sir.
All right. Have a nice one.
Thanks again.
All right. Bye. That was BJ from with OSA. And we're gonna lift him up in prayer and keep him lifted up and make sure that maybe he recovered from this. Okay. That was. I didn't know part of that. That was really interesting, but you learn more and more when you do interviews with individuals. But Next week guest is a friend of mine. Mr. Wendell Hartgrove will be on the show next Friday. He's a writer, he's an actor, a producer, and director. He has his own playwright that he has sold out the theater for May already. No more tickets available in Chicago. No more tickets. Trying to pressure him to do a second show. But we're going to talk to him about that next week when he come on. Okay, as I stated, I always give a Bible verse at the end of the show. Lee Jones was not able to be with us today to give us a prayer, but I'm always going to come up with a Bible verse. It's coming up under 1 Corinthians 16:14. Do everything in love. 1 Corinthians 16:14, do everything in love. Okay, well, that concludes the show for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot from it. Always stay in touch with your family, friends, and just keep in contact with them. With that being said, I'm praying that everybody have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. And until next week, God bless.